What's up, everybody? It's AJ with etrailer.com. Today we're going to be checking out the Ark Xtreme off-road trailer jack. So we have it installed on our trailer. It is completely removable, so you can just take it off in those low clearance areas. If you're off-roading, you don't want it to get stuck on something around, you can pull it completely off, put it in the trailer, put it in your truck, or slide it up alongside the trailer. It's still out of the way. Let's check it out. Right away, just want to show you how it works. You can easily turn the handle and get the wheel to come up pretty quickly for a manual one. You also have pivot points where you can keep the wheel out of the way wherever you need it. So you can see those holes, and there is a bolt that will go into one of those. So let's say we want to keep it right here. I can bring it up and line up with that hole. It'll help it stay in place. Just like that. Now that wheel won't move. We got it lower down on a trailer dolly to simulate it being on a vehicle. That way I can bring the wheel up and retract it. Now, one thing, when you are retracting it up, you can pick a position for the wheel to stay in. You can see that peg will go in the hole, and that will keep it in that place. So let's say we want it right there. I'm gonna bring it up, line that up. Nope, right there. Line it up, and now the wheel's not gonna move. And then the other thing I told you about in the beginning is that you can completely remove this when you want it out of the way for those situations where maybe it's low clearance and you don't want it bottoming out or dragging on anything. You just pull it off and set it aside, and it's out of the way, leaving this plate there. So whenever you're ready to bring it back, you can bring it back, slide it on, line up those holes, and drop the pin back in. Just like that. Another thing is you can remove the handle very easily. Keep that out of the way, and I'll grab this and show you the other position it goes in. You can grab it right here, slide it off, and then rotate it this way. So if you still want it out of the way, but you don't want to store it in your vehicle, you can slide it on there, up and out of the way. Again, you just drop that pin back in. That also works in the other position when you go to swing it out. So let me pull the pin and flip it around. So pull it out like that. Bring it down. Nope, we got the chain in the way. Move that. Line it up. We'll place that pin. You can go through the side this time. You have the option of going through the top or the side. So slide this in. With that gone through, now you have the option to pull this here, and you can drop the wheel way quicker to save you time when you're going to crank it, because it's already making contact there. Once I start going, it's going to bring it up. Save room on storage. You can remove the crank at any time. So you put this inside the vehicle, that way it doesn't get lost. So you put that on there, hook it up, and just use this to either retract it or lower it to the ground. When I talk about the handle a little bit more, it actually has a built-in magnet, and that's what holds the handle onto that like there. So you can't just pull it back off that easy. It's not just hanging there. It actually has a magnet that helps it stay attached. The Ark off-road jack is made for heavy-duty uses. So it was made by an Australian company for the Outback. So you got the dual steel wheels here at the bottom with rubber tires around there. It's going to get you that grip on there. So it's not just those plastic tires that get stuck on gravel or anything really easy. It's made to be dragged through pretty much anything. You can take it through the mud, on gravel. This is really going to have a good grip and be easy to move around your trailer, or at least easier than it would with one single tire. Now it also has the square tubing up here just to add extra strength as well to hold up to the Outback and that off-road situation. The jack's going to have a sturdy steel construction with a zinc coating. It also has been tested for 600-hour salt spray. So that means it's going to hold up to even salt in the air or salt water. It's not going to cause any rust or corrosion on this. Another thing to think about is weight capacity. So it's going to have a static weight capacity of 1,650 pounds. And a dynamic weight capacity of 1,100 pounds. Now what that means is static is going to be standing still. So if the trailer's just standing still and you got it loaded up, it can handle the 1,650. Now make sure you look at your hitch and your vehicle and see if that number's lower and go with that one. So if it is lower, I would go with that, not the jack, because you don't want to overload anything. Now, the other thing to think about with the dynamic static is if it is fully loaded and you get stuck and you're going to put all that weight on the jack, make sure you get that right, because it's going to transfer from standing still to moving. So that means you're going to have to take some of that gear out to make sure you stay under that weight capacity to pull out of that rut that you got stuck in. Fully retracted, it's going to be 12 inches long for the bracket, and then fully extended, it's going to be up to 29 5/8 inches. Now, when you're going to lower down the jack, it has total usable lift of 10 inches. And then make sure when you have it lifted up, the highest you can go while moving is going to be 23.5 inches. With the lowest bracket adjustment and the height of the crank, you have a total adjustment of 17 11/16 of an inch. So just keep that in mind. Now the next question is, how hard is it to install? Actually, wasn't that bad. The nice thing about this one is the jack is separated from the plates here, so you can remove the jack out of the equation and you just have the brackets on the back and the plate to deal with. That's a lot less to try and hold up and manage against the trailer tongue while you're trying to handle tools. You don't need too many tools either. We had a wrench, or you can use a socket and ratchet, or we had an impact with a 19mm socket on there, and that's what helped us get it done pretty quick. Check out how we did it. Now we got our plate lined up. I went ahead and installed the first one just so it's going to be easy to show you how this goes. So we have the bracket that's going to go on the back side of our trailer tongue and the plate that's going on the front. So this is the orientation that we used to get it to fit. Now it is universal, so you'll have to match it up to your trailer, make sure and see what works. But this is what we've lined up here. So I ran the bolt through the backside, make sure the head goes into the channel. That's going to hold that bolt, so it's going to make it easier to tighten it down when you go to do that. So let's get that lined up right here. You want the bolt sitting right on top of the tongue. I'll go ahead and add one of the nuts. I'm just going to get it hand tight to help it hold it right there. And we'll come back with tools and tighten it down. So with that one in place, I'm going to do the same thing with the second one. We're going to use the furthest down hole and line it up. That looks good right there. So again, we'll add that nut. I'm going to come back through and tighten them down, but I'm going to go to each corner evenly to tighten it down. You don't want to do one side all the way because it'll go at a weird angle. So we're just going to do a little bit at a time and go from corner to corner. Now we're ready to add our jack to our plate here. So what's a little bit different about this one is going to be a pin system. So it's not just a swivel jack that you pull on a handle and slide up or move up towards the trailer. This one you're going to have to remove a whole pin, and you can remove the jack and put it back in place. So it actually comes in handy because if there was something in the way, sometimes when you go to swivel it up, it might hit there on either way and can be kind of a pain. This way you completely remove it, put it out and around if there was any obstacles. So I'm just going to get it set up for our normal usage. So just hold it up there, line up those holes, and I drop our pin in. Now I said line up the holes because there are some points sticking out on our plate you want to line up with the back side of the jack. So right there, that one's going through there, and I believe there's one at the bottom too before we drop our regular pin in. A couple things to keep in mind is when you're going to pull this pin or push it back in, watch out for these edges. They can be a little bit sharp. You can see they roughed up my knuckles just a little bit. And then don't hold this side of the jack because that's where the grease is. So you don't want greasy hands or bust up your knuckles. Nice thing about if you want to store this, you can pick the storage position that the wheel is in when it's fully retracted. So right now it's right before it's fully retracted. You can pick any one of these points and they'll go in there and hold it in place. So let's say we want it here to get out of the way of something. I can just retract it all the way. That pin will go through the hole and keep that wheel in place. Overall, I like this jack. It's not for everybody, or not everybody's gonna need this extreme of a jack, but those who do are gonna like it. Maybe you've torn up a couple of jacks on your trailer, going off-roading, you've ripped one off, or they just don't last for you, and you're ready to invest in one that's gonna hold up a little bit longer. I'd say this would be the good one from it detaching so easily, folding up against the trailer, the hand crank being removed, you can store it inside, or even the dual wheels with the rubber coating on them, just to help you get that grip or get you unstuck sometimes if you get in a little too deep. Well, I think that does it. Thanks for hanging out and hope this helped.